Hi all, this is Ashish Kyal here from wavestrategy.com. Welcome again to Elliott Wave News channel. And I'm sure you might be aware about what's happening around. It has been a very interesting week in terms of asset classes. If you look at Nifty itself, there has been a lot of volatility, right, because of the Gujarat election outcome that we saw on Monday and the way markets reacted. There has been a lot of volatility in the other assets like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I'll be talking something about what has been happening with the cryptocurrency world right now in this webinar. And also I'll be talking about copper. I mean, copper has shown an amazing up move in an impulsive fashion. So I'll be talking about that as well. Let me now very quickly start with what's happening around with Nifty and the markets and where are we right now in terms of time cycles and the pattern overall which has been developing. So it seems that the mania which has been ongoing in not only Bitcoins or other asset classes, it has been across the globe. So the entire rally across the globe has been driven sharply higher irrespective of what the valuations have been asking for. So for example, even if you look at the US market, those have shown some exponential rise after Trump came into power. There has been some crazy movement that has happened on the upside in Dow Jones because of the Bitcoin movement, and people have been so much focused on that asset that people are not talking about US equity markets anymore, but that has again strongly outperformed. Looking at Nifty, again, the valuations of Nifty are expensive. Price to earning ratio has touched the level of 27. This is trailing PE I'm talking about. And this was the level which was seen again in 2008 December. So 2008 December, price to earning ratio surpassed 27, reached around 27.50. So this was the average zone we are again seeing in this December, which is after 2008, we are seeing now in 2017 similar price to earnings value. Now there will be all kind of justifications that will come out for justifying the current levels of PE ratio, but that is how the entire game works, right? So everyone will be now talking about forward growth and other things and stability and those aspects, uh, all taken into considerations, but the current valuations are expensive. So many people say that I have been talking about valuations are expensive, but markets are actually not stopping. If you look at it, Nifty is again back towards the level of 10,500 odd levels. So try to understand those markets can stay at expensive levels for quite some time. The topping process takes time, whereas the lows are formed in terms of panic and are very sharp and in the form of a spike. The reason why that happens is because the distribution takes time, whereas at the top. So and it can be explained in terms of cycles. So if you look at cycles, cycles are synchronous at the lows, but dispersed at the top. So for example, you will have 100-day cycle, 50-day cycle, 20 and then 25-day cycle, all probably forming lows together. So 225 or say 220-day cycle will form a 40-day cycle, 240-day for cycle will form an 80-day cycle, and all of these cycles at some point of time will coincide at the lows together. However, at the tops they are all dispersed because that is how the cycle works, and that is the reason why you will see that the tops takes more time to form, and whereas the lows are formed in panic. And that is what we have been seeing in the markets. The ongoing distribution pattern has been taking time. Nevertheless, as of now, since Nifty is still not broken below the important supports, which is on the downside, so there will be some positive aspect that can be expected in the coming week. If Nifty manages to cross about 10,500, this is the level, mind you, we have been talking for some time, and Nifty has not broken above it even today. Because there has been very high open interest at those levels, Nifty has not broken above it. If Nifty manages to cross about 10,500 odd levels, then yes, there can be some positive drift that we can expect. The another point is the cycle low, which we have been talking about for 3 weeks, that 18th of December is going to be the lows of the cycle. Price worked out brilliantly as per that cycles. On 18th of December, which was the Gujarat election day, in the morning we saw some huge sell-off. Now that can be again attributed towards what was happening with the that the Congress was leading at one point of time, or probably BJP was just leading with a minor seat. and that is the reason why markets corrected sharply. But nevertheless, the cycles worked out brilliantly. So this was predicted even 3 weeks prior to how the cycle should work, and that is how it behaved. Post that, the movement throughout the week has been just sideways. So let me just show across the chart of Nifty right now, which will help you to understand where was the cycle which we have been discussing all the while over past so many weeks in the webinar. So if you look at the cycle, the blue cycle, that worked out well as well, which formed a low here. And if you look at the red cycle, that worked out brilliantly again, which formed a low exactly on 18. So that we have been talking about. So this was the low over here, this low. So this was exactly on the cycle day. I'm just shifting it so that the bar can be seen. And this low formed exactly on the cycle day, and also this low was formed on the cycle day. From the lows of around 10,074, we have already seen a move towards 10,500. So if you look at it, there has been a move on the upside which has been very strong and more than 400 points already. So there is the retracement of this entire up move is yet to be seen. So in the coming week, the entire trend will remain positive if we manage to break and close about 10,500 levels. And then price can approach closer towards the upper trend line, which is also the gain projection level that I have been mentioning in our research reports. Whereas if there is a break below the short-term support, you can refer the research report for where the short-term support is. We can start expecting some consolidation. So prices are going to be drifting, I would suggest, for next few days or maybe weeks, because the cycle lows are found, and normally we have seen for at least 15 days the prices do not break the lows of the cycle. So there is a possibility we might not see a move on the downside. Even if it comes, it's going to be a sideways action. So and then on the upside, if the said level is broke, then we are going to see some movement on the upside towards the channel resistance. So that is how a trading strategy should be formed in case of Nifty. So there is not an impulsive trend, and that is why you are not going to see a very strong move on either sides over next few days, or at least for the coming week, which is a short week. So during such scenario, you have to probably pick up some other asset class that works well. Let me share across the screen of commodity short-term update that we have been publishing, and look at the chart of copper. The copper has shown some amazing move on the upside using impulsive pattern, and the reason why we are suggesting you to keep looking at different charts, because different asset class, because there is a possibility, there is no opportunity in equities, but there can be opportunities in commodity. So this is the commodity wave short-term update, which shows the chart of copper. If you look at it, we have been bullish all the way when prices were somewhere around the zone of 432 or crossed about this level. We turned bullish and said that the copper is now going to probably retrace back towards 445, and if that is taken out, we might head further higher. So that was the level. Now this is a sufficient enough level to predict on the upside. Also, wave A, B, C got over. C was over in an impulsive fashion. The last segment was retraced back faster, and then there was a break of the channel above. So everything confirmed that the overall trend for commodity, or probably for copper, has been turning on the upside. If you look at it today, this report was published on 14th of December morning before markets open. If you look at today's morning research, I mean, look at the chart of copper. The way it has moved is amazing. So this was the level which I talked about in 14th, and look at it where we are right now. And this simply shows the power of an impulsive pattern, how well an impulsive pattern becomes predictable and tradable. So over here we can clearly see 1, 2 over, and then internals 1, 2, 3, 4, and probably fifth over here. We might complete wave third here, fourth over, and now the fifth wave is currently ongoing on the upside. So we have been mentioning about use buy on dip strategy over here as well. So when copper was near the upper trend line, we very clearly mentioned if it goes towards this level of 444, then again initiate long positions. Similarly, it was mentioned in yesterday's morning report, and in today's morning as well, we mentioned if it goes towards 455 or 454 level, then again long position. So copper had a gap down opening at 454, and it's now again bounced back towards the level of 457. So that clearly shows that such trading strategies are possible if you look at the charts. So for example, in the morning over here, you can clearly see use this towards 454 as a buying opportunity, 450 as stop loss, and target near 460. So that clearly indicates how to trade an impulsive pattern. Why it's preferred trading an impulse pattern is because the predictability is high when you are looking at an impulse pattern. The corrections are less. In this entire up move, the corrections have been overlapping and sideways, whereas the up move have been strong and fast. So the line of least resistance is on the upside. The moving average will work, channels will work brilliantly, and you have to ignore RSI because during case of a sharp up move or impulse pattern, RSI will stay in the overbought zone, which we are saying. So you need to know which indicator has to be used at which point of time. You cannot be using RSI all the time. In case of a range bound market, RSI works well. In case of a trending market or an impulsive pattern, you have to probably rely more on the channels and moving averages, which are providing support to the prices. So that is how we have been publishing. And not only copper, if you look at the other charts as well, we have been talking about crude, the way it has to be traded, and it moved exactly as mentioned. So that's how. So we have applied Bollinger Bands because this has been a sideways market, and in this market, RSI might work very well. So that's how you have to change the indicators. You have to change the strategy based on which asset class is trading at what point of time. Now let me also show across another research which is covering the most talked about topic, Bitcoin. In today's morning report, the Financial Wave short-term update, which is equity report, we publish about what's happening with the cryptocurrency, which is Ripple. There is an alternative to Bitcoin, which is known as Ripple, or probably another cryptocurrency, not alternative, another cryptocurrency. And then many have been extremely bullish on this specific currency pair. If you look at XPR, which is Ripple against US dollar, we can clearly see an impulsive move again in the form of 1, 2, third done, fourth in the form of sideways action. The day it broke above this level, that was the indication that the fifth is starting on the upside, and it has rallied by more than 100% from those lows or from that level itself. Prices have been falling, amazing time cycle. If you look at the time cycles, every 60 days there has been a low formed over here. If you look at it, it has worked out amazingly well, except the wave 3 top, which was probably an inversion in terms of cycle theory. Rest all have been forming an amazing low exactly at 60 days. So this shows that the next low in this cryptocurrency might be formed on 19th of January. So we will keep covering something about cryptocurrency as well in our equity research report. And in case you want to have some dedicated research on Bitcoins, we are publishing that as well. You can subscribe to our specialized research on cryptocurrency. If you want to see how Bitcoin is going to behave, how ripples are going to behave, what's the trend for IOTA. So those are the cryptocurrencies that people are talking about, but everyone is just talking about that it's going to be only one way up. It's not so. It's a crazy movement happening there. You need to be very careful, and you need to be very selective in what you are trading, how you are doing it. Use a very strict stop loss, and you have to rely. I have been seeing the movement very closely, and this has been crazy. The entire mania of Bitcoin looks like to be compared with that of the tulip mania, which happened in the 16th 17th century, and that is what it looks like right now. Nevertheless, we will refrain from catching a top unless and until the important support levels are broken. And then if you are looking at Bitcoin was quoting somewhere around more than $19,000 just 2 days back, and it went below 13,000 in today's session. So that simply shows how volatile this asset is and how much you have to be prudent in applying the stop loss. Otherwise, it can just wipe you off in a single day. So being talked about it, we have been giving all the advisory services. You can visit wavestrategy.com. You can subscribe for intraday positional calls on equity, commodities, or currency markets. You can subscribe to the research reports, which I have just shown a few of them. And trust me, it's going to be assisting you a lot in terms of trading strategy, how things have to be traded. We have been generating some calls on commodity and equity, and things worked out extremely well. So will the predictability go up at 100%? Absolutely not. There, the accuracy cannot be 100%. If someone claims, then that is absolutely false. You need to understand this is all probability. You should only risk what you are okay losing. That is how I would conclude today's webinar. So in a nutshell, the overall trend for Nifty might be positive. It crosses the mentioned important resistance level. Keep a watch on the support level, which will be mentioned in the research report. Copper has been an amazing up move, but prices are now in fifth wave. But you saw the power of impulse. And Bitcoin, the other cryptocurrency like Ripple, is right now ongoing in fifth wave. In case you want to have a look at the research, please drop a mail to helpdesk@wavesstrategy.com or call on 9920422202. That's it from my side. Wish you all a very happy and Merry Christmas, and see you again next week, same time at 4 o'clock. Thank you for now.